AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We'll talk with Kat Terrell in about 15 minutes from right now. Chris Doring in hour 2. David Hellman coming up in hour 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I am very happy to report that I'm alive. I am not dead. I am alive. This unless this is like Sixth Sense. Yeah, maybe.
I guess it could be, except that's a movie and this is real life.
Maybe Muse, I'm a ghost and you see me because you see ghosts. You see dead people.
I could.
Maybe.
I mean, no one's here to confirm or deny or dispute that.
That's a fact.
Glad you're alive, though, Scone.
Yeah, me too. Thanks. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
There was a Facebook hoax that's been spreading today that I died. And I didn't die. I'm actually alive. I was in the car this morning, and my sister-in-law called me because my wife's aunt called my mother-in-law, who called my sister-in-law, who then called me. I was live streaming on Morning Scone saying, no, look, he's here. He's live streaming on Morning Scone. And the graphic they put up said, like, RIP 1987 to 2026. I'm like, I was born in 1982. Mm-hmm. If you're going to rip me, can you at least get my birth year correct?
Can we do a little research?
A little bit.
Like,
it's on my Twitter profile.
I said, you can
I think
find
it's on my
that.
Twitter profile. July 1982.
If not, it's probably on your Facebook. Where they posted this.
I don't know. I think I might have my Facebook. Do I have? Yeah, look on my Twitter profile. So look, there it is.
Right there.
Paul, can you pull this up? Look, there's my Twitter profile right there. Born. You don't have it. Dag nabbit. Okay. Well, anyway. July 1982. But I'm alive. Really here. It's great to be here. It's great to be here. Anyway, all right, we got a lot to do today, so thanks for hanging out with us. Did we do the Bud Light Open yet?
We did.
We did.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So drink Bud Light with the drop there. So the thing everyone wants to know: what is the latest on Seaton Watch? Seaton Watch. Did you pull me saying Seaton?
Well, yeah, of course I did. Why wouldn't I? What am I going to do? Say it into a microphone myself?
I thought you would do it.
No, this is way better.
Seaton Watch. Seaton Watch. This is so stupid. We did like a month solid of Kiffin Watch. I feel like we might be embarking on the same with Seaton Watch. Seaton Watch. The pause is wicked. It's so poorly spliced together.
That's what makes it so good.
This is what makes it so good. Okay. So everybody wants to know what's the latest on Seaton Watch. Seaton Watch. I think this kid's in no hurry to make a decision, and nobody seems to know what he's going to do. That's not the update everybody wants, but that's the update that I have for you. And I've been chasing my tail a little bit here, chasing every lead to try to find out if this kid, there were some reports that he came back to Baton Rouge. As of early this afternoon, that was not the case. Literally had someone with intimate knowledge of the ongoing conversations with Jordan Seaton who told me, yeah, but nobody, like, actually, I'll read the direct quote from you, for you. So as of this afternoon, he wasn't back in Baton Rouge, but anything is possible with that kid. That's where we are with Seaton.
Watch.
Here's what I'll tell you. Because a lot of people are also asking about enrollment for the spring semester to be able to go through spring football. A couple things. Number one, Oregon is on a quarter system, so they have fall, winter, spring, summer. So their winter classes, like that deadline's passed. Their spring classes don't begin until March 30th. So for Oregon, he's missed the winter window here. So he's in no rush there from an Oregon perspective, and it's March 30th. He could enroll and go through spring. As for LSU, with the window having passed to enroll for spring semester, meaning even if he picks LSU, he wouldn't be able to go through spring football. And I'll tell you candidly, you don't need Jordan Seaton in spring ball. Look, Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins didn't participate in spring last year. Jordan Gilbert, like some of these guys, like Gilbert, remember, had shoulder surgery and missed spring while he recovered. Like a lot of times you intentionally choose to do those types of procedures then because it's not important for veteran players to go through spring. For some players, it is important. I think for like the quarterbacks and receivers, the timing is very important. Earlier this week, we had Jackson Harris with us, the Hawaii transfer, who told us they're already out there throwing with Husan Longstreet and Landon Clark and working on their timing, which is awesome. I think that's important. I think if you're going to be a first-time starter, it's important to get those reps. That's why, remember when Nussmeier played in that bowl game against Wisconsin, it was very important for Nussmeier, those bowl practices in spring, because it was all reps with the ones being the man leading the huddle. That was important. So for some guys, it is. If you're Jordan Seaton and you're going to be a plug-and-play guy and you're going to be the starter at left tackle and you've started for 2 seasons and you're the best in the country at your position, like, I'm super disinterested in him and his beautiful, healthy ACLs being out there in spring football. And remember, last year, you didn't have A.J. Halsey or Bernard Gooden in spring. They weren't added until that spring portal window, so they didn't show up till June. Because all that to say, like, LSU has not given up recruiting Jordan Seaton. They're still they're very much in the mix. I think the way that it was phrased to me yesterday was that after Seaton had flown to Atlanta, and then, of course, Lane Kiffin went and saw him Tuesday night, and so did Dan Lanning. Early Wednesday morning, the way that it was phrased to me is that their chances were dwindling. Not gone, but it was just you didn't feel as good Wednesday as you did Tuesday when Seaton spent spent 48 hours on campus. So I know that's not the update everyone wants to hear, but as I've repeated, the hang-up very much seems to be Jordan Seaton's uncle, and I don't think it's one of those things where he's just got, as many are assuming, he's got his hands out and wants more money. I don't think the finances here are the hang-up. It sounds like everybody is going to be financially competitive to land Seaton. That's not what's at issue here. It's I think a little bit of control, and maybe the onus is on this staff who had really sold the player. And I think Jordan Seaton, while he was here, was ready to commit and sign, and his uncle wanted him to take that visit to Oregon, and you maybe just had a little power struggle here from decision makers. I think the challenge now is for LSU staff to recruit Jordan Seaton's uncle and get him on board with this decision and see what timeline it may follow. So again, I don't know that anything is imminent or that it needs to be imminent, But if Jordan Seaton wants to be a part of the LSU team in 2026, he will be, and they're continuing to recruit him. Okay, it is after further review. Meanwhile, the LSU coaches were recruiting all over today. We'll get you some updates on that here throughout the show. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. Y'all, Carnival's here. Man, great time, of course, to celebrate a great season here around Louisiana. If you're going to be heading out to the parades, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. Fill the ice chest. If you go follow the Mockler Beverage social media pages, they've got all the parade schedules as well if you're interested in that. So you can check it out. Mockler Beverage on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. You can see it all right there. But whatever you do, make sure if you're out parading or just hanging out at the house, riding out the freeze and the ice storm, drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, y'all, it is after further review, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here from the Raising Cane studio. It is a Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. We're going to knock out a quick break, and when we come back, our friend Kat Terrell is going to jump aboard with us. I wanted to have this convo with Kat last week. We just couldn't coordinate on a time, and it actually works really well because today over at ESPN, Bill Barnwell has a really comprehensive piece about every wide receiver that could be available, either free agency, trade, cut candidates. Like, where might the Saints be looking to fortify a desperate need on this team? We're going to talk about it with Kat when we come back. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. Think real estate. Think Darren James. I'm going to give you the website. I'm going to give you Darren's cell as well. Just go to agent225.com, agent225.com. That's the website. Or if you want to call Darren, 335-7666 or text 335-7666, 225-335-7666. Thinking about selling your home, you could literally text Darren right now and say, Darren, here's going to talk about you all the time. Thinking about listing my home. Would love to meet with you. Remember, when you meet with Darren, you're going to sit down. He's going to agree to a price and a deadline, a price to sell your home at a deadline by which he'll sell it. If he doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash or he'll sell it for you absolutely free. Learn more about the Guaranteed Sale Program. Call or text Darren right now, 225-335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
The NFL is down to its final four. The other 28 teams are looking ahead to 2026. And for the New Orleans Saints, absolutely receiver has to be on their must list. And I wanted to have this conversation with Kat Terrell for a while now. She's good enough to join us now. Kat Terrell from ESPN. She's on Twitter, X, whatever, at Kat_Terrell. Hey, Kat, how are you?
I'm doing good, Matt. Been a little sick all week, so might not sound great, but I've been on the mend.
You sound awesome as always, and it's all about the knowledge that we need, which is why we called on you. Hey, I want to would you agree that receiver is at or near the top of the Saints' must list this offseason?
Yeah, for me, going into this first round of the draft, depending on how the draft falls, it would either be a top need or right near the top. If Love is available in the draft, that could change things. But I definitely think they have to address pass catcher in some form or fashion. Okay, the first thing, let's first things first, which is they got to decide what they're going to do with Chris Olave. I think most people agree that they're going to re-sign him.
I want to throw up in my mouth when I think about paying him $30 million a year, but I think they're going to do that. Your best guess as to what they do with Olave? Like, do they re-sign him? When do they re-sign him? What does the contract look like? Any best guess there?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When you asked me to come on the show earlier today, I was thinking about that and looking up, how much you have to pay a top receiver. And as you said, it is $30 million. And, I myself have reservations about that. I think Olave had a great year this year. I think he's a solid receiver. Do you want to pay him that much money? I mean, it really doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the Saints think, and they've been working on an extension with him since he said the beginning of the season. So they clearly want it. They don't have any other top receivers, so do they get desperate and pay him whatever he wants? I don't know. I think that they should try to keep him. I don't think it should be at the top of the market, but that's not really how the market works these days, right? It seems like record deals happen left and right, whether it's a good idea or not.
So, do you agree, though, like you think that they will re-sign him but before the start of next season?
I think so.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah. I don't really know what would stop them from doing that. They, like I said, they indicated that they want him back. His teammates are now saying you got to pay the man, so everyone kind of seems on board to keep Olave. I think he really has a good chemistry with Tyler Shuck. He proved he came back from the concussions. So I'd be surprised if we're going into the start of next season and nothing has happened yet. Now, it could take all the way up until then.
Yeah.
But my guess is that they do come to some sort of contract extension. He doesn't play on the fifth-year option.
Would an A.J. Brown trade make sense?
I don't think so, because just looking at Brown's contract and how much he makes, I don't see a world where you both pay Chris Olave the money he is probably expecting and also absorb Brown's contract. And also, you have to get into the whole issue of what's going to make A.J. Brown happy. Would he be happy coming into this particular offense, which is still very much a work in progress? Do you want to deal with that? Or do you want to just build Kellen Moore's offense from the ground up and draft a receiver? In my mind, the latter option is the way to go. I know, you don't always know how that's going to turn out. Brown is a very, very good receiver, but it comes with a whole host of other issues you're allowing into your building if that's the way you want to go.
Cat Terrell's with us. Of course, free agency comes before the draft. So could you see a world where the Saints both sign a free agent wide receiver and draft one at the top at 8 overall?
That's a great question. I think it would depend on how much money they're throwing at a free agent wide receiver. Like, are you paying a Jordan Seaton, or are you kind of doing what the Saints lately, and you're kind of paying middle tier money to maybe a guy that is on the other side of his career or something like that? The Saints might get excited. They actually probably have cap space this year.
Right.
Go all in. But, I could see it as a possibility. They really need to do everything they can to try to, make this offense turn itself around. But honestly, in reality, it probably won't happen that way, but you never know with them.
I would love for the Saints to do a deal, say, for George Pickens. But I agree with you. It's hard to imagine a world where they pay both a guy like Chris Olave and a top-tier guy like Pickens. So when you look at the other free agents, you're talking about guys like Romeo Doubs, Mike Evans, who you mentioned kind of on the other side of his career. There's Juwan Jennings, Christian Kirk, Alec Pierce. These are all names that are in Bill Barnwell's piece over at ESPN.com today, and he kind of makes case for all where they could land. Wan'Dale Robinson with the Giants, Deebo Samuel, Rashid Shaheed, who I think will probably end up resigning in Seattle. Do any of those names make sense for New Orleans to sign in or target in this free agent market?
I have trouble believing that Tampa would not make a play to keep Evans if there's a chance that he's going to their direct rival. But that would be an extremely interesting signing. I'd be all for it if it works, even though, yes, like you said, he is a guy that has been injured and is on the downside of his career. But still extremely productive receiver. Juwan Jennings would be really interesting, but, the Niners, probably they have their own receiver issues. They're probably not going to want everyone out of the building. If you're not looking at free agency, I meant to say this earlier, the Bills might have a trade candidate now that probably won't take a lot of capital, and that's Keon Coleman, for those listening, after they just kind of trashed him all over their press conference a few days ago. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
That's where I wanted to go next, because there are different paths, right? I mean, there's draft, there's free agency, there's retention, there's trades. We talked about A.J. Brown because that's the big name. What do you think the situation is there with Coleman? And is that a realistic possibility for New Orleans, maybe, if he's cut, or some of these cut candidates that are out there?
Well, the Saints have kind of loved doing that this year, right? Like collecting guys from the streets or via, small trades that have potential. Polk is obviously the one. Jalen Polk is the one that comes to mind. We haven't seen him play yet. That was in a trade entirely based on potential and what the Saints think they could do with him in the future, which is really interesting. Devon Bailey is not quite the same because he actually did play, but, they made that trade, a guy that hadn't played that much. So, and Coleman has played, but, yeah, if that is a possibility, it kind of seems like it'd be right up the Saints' alley to do that. But what's interesting is we haven't seen a leak, from the other side after that press conference happened, explaining, how Coleman feels about it and what's going on. So there's probably a lot of smoothing over going on right now, so maybe nothing happens. But it did put them in a spot where if he suddenly is up for trade, they're not going to get much out of it. So a lot of teams would be interested, I'm sure.
A couple other names that are out there as potential trade candidates. Quentin Johnson, Ryan Thomas Jr., Xavier Legette, DJ Moore. So if the Saints want to be aggressive, there are options. But to bring it full circle where you started, I think it's also very likely that if the right guy is there at 8 overall, they might pull the trigger on a receiver. I don't know if you've done any draft prep yet, but is there someone you like at 8 overall? Would you endorse the Saints taking a receiver at 8 overall?
I'm not going to lie. I haven't done a ton of draft
I get it.
Yet.
Yeah. We're not quite to that season yet.
Yeah, I know. We're close, though.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I feel like I took the week after the season off, and now we're right back into draft mode with the Senior Bowl next week. But, I think that is the way to go for them. I think that they have a full offseason with Kellen Moore to, put in his offense with Tyler Shuck. They can start building chemistry. I think, getting a pass catcher in some way is a desperate need because you have so many unknown factors beyond the fact that your entire receiver group is up in the air after Olave. You don't know what's going to happen with Taysom Hill, so that's one pass catcher that could potentially retire. Alvin Kamara, I don't know what's happening with his future. That's another pass catcher. And I know we're not talking receivers, but, you got to have guys that can catch the ball. At the end of the season, Chuck was throwing to people whose names will be forgotten in a few weeks.
I literally don't even know who the receivers were the final weekend.
Yeah, I don't mean to be insulting, but it's true. And you're throwing to Kevin Austin Jr. and guys that by the summer people will be struggling to remember who it was. And Chuck was making it work. That's the thing, though. Yeah. The Saints are making it work. So imagine what a full offseason and maybe a receiver at the top of the draft could do for him. So I think that's kind of exciting if you really like offense and you're interested to see what the Saints could do after they start building this offense. I sound like Kellen Moore now. He loves saying build things out. So I'm trying not to say that, but it sounded like something he'd say.
I guess build it out is like the new Our League, which was a very popular one.
Our League.
Around these parts for a long time. Okay, so if, let's say hypothetically, Olave, draft a receiver, Vele, Polk, do you think that's enough?
It doesn't feel like it. Maybe it's because we just really don't know that much about what Polk is going to be able to do as a Saint. Maybe that's it's such an unknown. It doesn't really feel like enough, but maybe that's because they also need to go figure out the tight end position too. Foster Moreau also has a voiding contract, so that's another guy on the offense that you don't know what's going to happen to him. So they have a lot of offensive needs. So a lot of work to be done this offseason.
Senior Bowl next week. You'll be there in Mobile?
I will be at the Senior Bowl, and, as anyone who follows the Saints knows, they love at the Senior Bowl, and they always pick a lot of players from here. So a guy playing next week could be one of the Saints' next top draft picks. So that's always kind of cool to think about.
Staff will be involved there. Saints staff members will be involved in the Senior Bowl as well, coaching their side. So we'll be watching Cat Terrell, ESPN.com, on Twitter at @Cat_Terrell. Give her a follow. We appreciate it. Thanks for making it work.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing. So we had a ton of rain, obviously, the past couple of days, and everyone's preparing now for this ice event, the freeze that's supposed to be coming. We'd love to help you out. Parrish Construction and Roofing. If you've noticed an issue with your roof as a result of this rain the past couple of days, give us a shout. Let one of our inspectors come, get up on your roof, see if you have any issues. Love to help you through it. If maybe through this event on the backside you notice issues with your roof, we can help you out. Parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Just fill out the form on the homepage. We'll get in touch. Do business with someone you know, parrishbuilt.com. We do work all over the state of Louisiana, so it doesn't matter where you are. And we actually have a physical office in New Orleans as well, with boots on the ground there in the 504 and the 985 every single day. So we'd love to help you out at Parrish Construction Roofing, parrishbuilt.com. And I'll tell you also, we do gutters and soft wash, commercial or residential. On our social media, we have this up. Hat tip to Matt Q and his staff that handle all the soft washing. We just recently did a soft wash project over at LSU at Patrick F. Taylor. And if you're watching, there's the photo right there, the before and after. It's remarkable how much this will beautify a space. So we do that for any of your exterior, your hardscape, the exterior of your home, your commercial building, your roof as well, which can beautify your roof, get the algae off, help extend the life of your roof. Love to help you out. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know, parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Excuse me. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. Some legacies, some Tiger legacies got offers today. You want to talk about making you feel old? We'll get to that. Mel Kiper's got a mock draft up. We'll do that in about 30 minutes. Chris Doering will be here 1 hour from right now. David Hellman in hour 3. We're jam-packed. Got a lot to do. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions, glowresources.com. Remember, when you work with Glow Resources, you have nothing to lose. I want to stress this. If you've been on the fence thinking about it, calling Glow Resources to help you find the right people to help maximize productivity at your business, working with Glow Resources, you have nothing to lose. They have a 96% success rate. 96% success rate. And if for whatever reason the employee they find does not work for you, if you're in the very infinitesimal percentage that doesn't work, they're going to give you a prorated refund, or they will find you another employee for free. You want a permanent solution to help make your business more productive and more profitable? Glow Resources can help. Check them out online at glowresources.com. GLO, glowresources.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
LSU coaching staff was out on the road today, all over the state of Louisiana. Lane Kiffin spent the bulk of the day down in New Orleans, saw a 5-star number 1 receiver, Easton Royal, down in Brother Martin, spent time over at Shaw, posted a photo over at Edna Carr. The staff was out and about working today. It's one of the things that we'll continue to say that is pretty it's been pretty outstanding so far, is seeing the way that this staff has worked. I was told last night, kind of with landing Prince Wilumon Miel, and really all the hay is in the barn for this transfer portal class with 41 additions. And we're still waiting to see what happens as they continue to recruit Jordan Seaton, and we'll see. But for all intents and purposes, they're done in the portal unless if Seaton wants to come aboard. So they kind of took a night last night. Some of the staff members went to the lounge area over at Supper Club and kind of were able to unwind and celebrate a little bit. And much deserved, right? After the 3-week sprint they just went through, think about what these last 3 weeks have been like. I mean, it's been exhausting just for you and me talking about it every day. They were living it. From January 2nd, when the portal opened, I mean, having averaged 12 to 15 visitors a day come through the facility, not only showing them the facility, touring them, going to dinners, managing the roster, GM Billy Glasscock working out the contracts, making the finances work, all of it. I mean, they went through one heck of a 3-week stretch, and as a result for their hard work, LSU landed the number 1 transfer portal class, and a lot of people are going to have outstanding expectations for this 2026 season in year 1 under Lane Kiffin. So they took a little time, but they're right back at it today doing high school recruiting, and as I understand it, sort of the next phase is, yes, they're recruiting for the 2027 class and beyond, but also they're looking, Lane Kiffin kind of gave the charge to his staff to say, go back through everything and find sleepers. We've already seen LSU add 2 2026 defensive backs, Louisiana kids, defensive backs that they feel like have a big upside, and so they took them. And there may be more between now and the February signing period if they want to add. We have this roster tracker up at LouisianaSports.net, and it's totally free, as we always talk about with LouisianaSports.net. If you want to go check it out, the tracker's free. What's interesting is, we've got every time a player has been publicly announced leaving the program, joining the program, retaining, whatever the case may be, we add it to the tracker. So if you look at the roster tracker, LSU has announced 25 players returning. That's LSU's, they've done the graphic, like back for a year or two or whatever. They've announced 25 players returning. 35 players entered the transfer portal. We know they've added 41 via their portal class, and then they've got 16 high school signees. Well, if you look at the 16 high school signees, the 25 they've announced returning, the 41 that they've added via the portal, that puts you at 72. I asked a staff member today to check my math, and this person told me that they're over 90 on the roster. Remember, you can have 105. So I think probably with there are more players returning that just didn't get the graphic announcement. There's probably some walk-ons who were part of the program that were invited to return. So that's going to be maybe interesting to see how those numbers all work out. But remember, you can have up to 105 on your roster now. I don't know if LSU gets to 105, but they can. So all that to say, there's still room if there are more players they want to add between now and the start of the season in the fall. So just something to file away. There could be more. Interestingly, there were a couple of legacies that got offers. It's so wild to say it, but B.J. LaFell, that's Brandon's son, got an offer today from LSU. He shared on his Twitter and on social media. Said after speaking with Coach McDonald, blessed to receive an offer from LSU. So B.J. LaFell, Brandon's son, who is, of course, Brandon LaFell, great former Tiger member of the 2007 National Championship team. Brandon LaFell's son has an LSU offer, which is just insane to think. And then Jalen Adai, yes, that would be Joe Adai's son, tweeted earlier today as well after a great conversation with Coach McDonald, blessed to receive an offer from LSU. So the photo he shared was a photo of his dad from 2006 in his LSU uniform, a playing card, a press pass playing card. So anyway, Joe Adai's son and Brandon LaFell's son, a couple of LSU legacies, have gotten LSU offers now coming out of high school. So we'll keep you posted on how those recruitments go. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You can always check them out online. Remember, y'all, we are inching closer to Valentine's Day. Gents, we are about 3 weeks away. Saturday, 3 weeks from Saturday is Valentine's Day. Don't screw it up. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Maybe you're thinking of popping the question. Of course, nobody's got a better selection than Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry of beautiful diamond engagement rings. Maybe you're celebrating an anniversary. Maybe it's your 30th, 40th, 50th Valentine's Day together, whatever it may be. They've got tons of great options from rings and watches and bracelets and pendants and necklaces and everything, earrings, everything you can imagine for any different budget. Check them out at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Auburn Tigers.
Auburn has landed a commitment from Miami. Transfer offensive lineman Derek Plaz entered the portal after the Canes lost the national championship game. Has 3 years of eligibility remaining, 6'4", 310. Will be an interior option. Was a backup in the 2025 season. He was the number 42 interior offensive lineman in the country back in the class of 2024.
The Florida Gators.
East Carolina cornerback Jordy Lowry is now Florida cornerback Jordy Lowry. He's a redshirt senior, so going into his 5th season. Spent 2025 at ECU after beginning his career at Western Carolina, where he spent 3 seasons. 1 season with the Pirates. He had 27 tackles, 4 passes, defense, so we'll give you some options there in the Florida secondary.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Kalen DeBose landed former Mississippi State offensive tackle Javen James, 6'5", 320. Got 2 years of eligibility remaining. He has started 21 games during his time in Stark, Vegas. Played 824 snaps at left tackle for the Bulldogs this past year.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss has flipped star linebacker Luke Farrelly from Clemson. So Farrelly played at Cal, had been committed to Clemson, and is now flipped to Ole Miss. He was a redshirt freshman this year in 2025. 6'3", 230, had 87 tackles, which was second on the team there for Cal. He was the ACC Defensive Freshman of the Year. Yes, Cal linebacker Luke Farrelly, ACC Defensive Freshman of the Year. Remember, Cal's in the ACC. It's weird. He's the 27th portal addition for Ole Miss.
The Texas Longhorns.
And Texas added quarterback depth with Coastal Carolina quarterback M.J. Morris. Played at NC State, Maryland as well before going to Coastal Carolina. Now will be at his 4th stop when he joins the Texas Longhorns, which already has a lot of depth there with Arch Manning, KJ Lacey, and Dia Bell, the former 5-star. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Our Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Of course, it is not just healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. So if you're bringing a baby home from the hospital and you need to sleep at night, their expertly trained nurses can come in-home, take care of your baby while you sleep so you can be your most productive self during the day. Maybe it's end-of-life care. Maybe you've been given a really tough diagnosis. Our friends over at Decision Critical have the expertly trained nurses to help with anything it may be. If it's hospice care, if it's carrying out a physician's orders post-op, maybe you had surgery and you're going to need help in-home post-operatively, they can help. It's Decision Critical. They can do therapeutic phlebotomy. Maybe you're a man on HRT and you don't want to go to a blood center. You don't have the time, but you need to give blood. They can come to your home or your office. Boom, knock it out in 20, 30 minutes. I told you they've come to our home to give Erica a IV hydration when she was sick. She had strep throat during the Christmas holidays. They came to our house, gave her an IV. They've come to our home to do blood labs, to do the blood draw and Drew so we could do it comfortably in our home. They're awesome, and they're all over Louisiana, and they got their Dallas office open as well now. DecisionCriticalBR.com, DecisionCriticalBR.com. It's not just healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. DecisionCriticalBR.com. All right, it's after further review, y'all. We're going to knock out a break. In about 15 minutes, we'll talk about Mel Kiper's first mock draft, what he has the Saints doing, and where does he have Mansour Delane going? It is in round 1. We'll tell you where. That's coming up in just a smidge. When we come back, though, 2 really significant quarterback decisions that are playing out in court that could very well shape, in a large way, the 2026 college football season. We'll give you the updates on Trinidad Chambliss and Darian Mensah. That's next on AFR.
After further review.
Well, speaking of court, get Gordon and get it done. Not that type of court, though. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Always encourage you to start at the website, getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Or maybe you'd rather talk to someone, and that's totally cool too. I mean, I understand if you've been in an accident, you can feel vulnerable. You can want to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of. You want to make sure you get what you are entitled to. Maybe you would rather have a phone conversation with somebody. It's easy. Go to getgordon.com or call 888-8888, 888-8888, 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. As we always say, don't leave it to chance. Don't go it alone. Let someone who is experienced go to bat for you. That's Gordon and his team. So go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Wrapping up hour number one. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. There are two lingering quarterback legal issues that could in many ways shape and help shape the 2026 college football season. One is Trinidad Chambliss and the other is with Darian Mensah. From the Ole Miss side of things, there's a growing belief that Trinidad Chambliss is going to win in court. I don't know that is actually even the question. That feels like a foregone conclusion that he will get a TRO, the temporary restraining order, allowing him to play. That's why they went to a Mississippi State court instead of a federal judge. Of course, Trinidad Chambliss is going to get that TRO. The real question is, with respect to Chambliss, is what does the NFL say? Because every conversation I've had with anyone close to associated with Chambliss, Ole Miss, this whole process, it's been very clear that the issue at hand is the draft. If Chambliss is a projected first-round pick, if that's the draft grade he's getting back, if NFL teams are telling him he's going to be a first-round pick, then he's going to go to the NFL. If Trinidad Chambliss is told he's a day 2 pick or whatever, then I think he's going to go take $5-6 million and go play this season at Ole Miss. That's going to be massively significant because if Chambliss is back at Ole Miss, then even in spite of everything they've lost, obviously having that quarterback returning at his age 24 season is going to be a tremendous opportunity to bridge the gap from the Kiffin era to the Pete Golding era. If they had to go to Deuce Knight, who's an incredible talent but hasn't played, you would expect a dip with what they've lost and losing the head coach and the offensive coordinator. I mean, I've said pretty routinely my thought on that whole situation is very similar to how I felt about when LSU hired Jake Peetz to be the offensive coordinator. Remember that? When Steve Ensminger retired and Joe Brady was gone, Ed Orgeron tried to bring in someone that could run that offense. And so he went to Joe Brady and said, who should we hire? He said, who could run this offense? He said, Jake Peetz. So Ed Orgeron hired Jake Peetz, and it was not good. I don't know that it was all Jake Peetz's fault. I think that's part of it. But also, Miles Brennan got hurt. You had Max Johnson running out there, throwing passes backwards against UCLA, and it was bad. So the fact that they went and hired John David Baker because he had been on staff under Kiffin at one point, I don't think that necessarily means you're just going to roll offensively. But one thing that would help them, obviously, is if Trinidad Chambliss returns. So really for Chambliss, it's not so much watch what happens in court, it's watch what happens with the NFL. The other is Darian Mensah, and Mensah is going to be an interesting one to watch because Duke is holding him to his contract and trying not to allow him to enter the transfer portal. Now, a judge has said he can enter the portal, but he can't play until it's rectified. Now, good luck, good luck enforcing that. This was an attorney named Alan Fertel was on Locked On Canes. And obviously, Miami has a huge interest in this because they don't have a quarterback. And so if Darian Mensah is their quarterback, they're going to be a contender. If not, they're really up against it right now. Here was this attorney on why Mensah's contract is so strong.
There's something called a restrictive covenant, a covenant not to compete. The Duke lawyers put it into an NIL deal. It's exclusive. Duke claims the agreement grants the university exclusive rights to Mensah's NIL in the categories of higher education and football through December 2026. Duke alleges that Mensa entered into a non-compete agreement not to enroll at or compete for another college institution during the contract period when he's getting paid $8 million, 4 and 4 plus. There's also bonuses. There's contact restrictions in this deal where his family members and agents can't contact any other institution, etc. There's no buyout clause. And here's the other kicker. The contract requires arbitration.
So it seems like Duke may have a case. And if Darian Mensah is held to his agreement with Duke, Miami is in trouble because they don't have another option. They missed on Brendan Sorsby. They missed on Sam Levitt. They've missed here in the portal. So they were willing to spend freely $8 million there to get Darian Mensah. And they may not have Darian Mensah. We'll follow that, of course, as it moves along. All right, it's After Further Review. We are brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. You know where they are, conveniently located on Airline Highway, just north of Highland. They're Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. And it is a great time to go shop because the 2026s are on the lot. Was there earlier this week. Get by and see my friends at South Point Volkswagen, or shop them online at southpointvw.com. The entire inventory, if it's on the lot, it's online at southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, we'll get you caught up on national headlines. The Sports Center here in just a quick second. We'll come back. Mel Kiper's first mock draft is out. What are the Saints doing at 8?
AFR.
It is a busy time for my friends over at First South Farm Credit. Why? Why is January, the beginning of a new year, the busy time for our friends at First South Farm Credit? Well, it's going to make sense when I tell you, because so many people, as hunting season finishes, they look around and go, yeah, I'm sick of leasing a property. I'm sick of hunting on somebody else's land. I'm tired of not shooting the big buck because I want to save it for the owner of the property. So when hunting season ends is when people start to go, ready for my own property. This is the time First South Farm Credit can help. They've been doing this since 1916, y'all. More than 100 years, 110 years. First South Farm Credit has done one thing: help Louisianians buy land for agriculture, recreational land, the 100 acres to build your family's dream home. You want to buy land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Log on to firstsouthland.com.